Hey guys, it's Kay from KS Anonymous, and I am back today with another episode of r/relationship advice. My 45 male wife, 42 female, revealed that she was unfaithful and I'm divorcing her. Our children, 15 female and 17 male, hate me for it. My wife and I have been together for 18 years. We had our ups and downs, but overall our marriage has been solid and she was my best friend. We've always been very close with our children and have raised them very much as a unit, and in turn, they're very close to us. About 2 weeks ago, I brought up an advice column in the paper I had read regarding infidelity and talked about it for a bit, and I could see she had clearly started to tear up and was attempting to hide it, so I asked her what was bothering her. She confessed that about 7 years ago, she cheated on me with a former coworker on a business trip, and then once with him after that, before breaking it off due to guilt. This was around the time she left that job for a new one, which she had told me back then was due to feeling like it wasn't a good fit, but now confesses was because she didn't want to work with him anymore. She says she never had a good reason for it. She knew it was wrong then, but gave in to the urge, and nothing has ever happened since. Claims she confessed now as she can't live with the guilt of hiding it from me. We talked about it for the next 3 days when the kids were in school, while trying our best not to let them know while we were home. I realized I knew I'd never be able to let this go, nor would I be able to forgive her. She's distraught. We sat our kids down to tell them about the fact our marriage was ending. Obviously, this was extremely tough. They acted as one could expect, and blame was thrown at both of us. My wife and I agreed to tell them it was mutual, but I guess guilt got the better of her again because she ends up crying and telling them not to blame me, that she betrayed my trust in the past and she just told me now, and that it's all her fault. This had the opposite effect that she intended, and now both our kids absolutely resent me for not forgiving mom and ruining our family. My wife has repeatedly tried to put blame back on herself, which only makes the kids double down and defend her more as if she's the victim. I don't want to drag their mother through the mud, so I'm trying to explain as tactfully as I can, but they've gone as far as saying that when I get my own apartment, they don't want to see me anymore and refuse my suggestion of seeing a therapist together, and reject the idea that I still plan to see them on a regular basis and be on good terms with their mother. My wife isn't helping matters as she's been an emotional wreck since I've told her of my plan to leave. I love my kids, but I don't know how to make them understand this without dragging their mother through the mud. I don't know how to assure them that this has nothing to do with them, or that I'm not trying to punish or hurt their mom. I just know I cannot get past this, and for my own happiness, I need to leave. Any suggestions on how to get them to stop seeing me as the villain would be helpful. This might sound bad, and I know people process things differently and in different amounts of time, but I'm wondering if 3 days is enough for you to decide if you really can't deal with that. Does that make sense? So I can understand their frustration. Obviously it's awful that she did that she hid it from you. I mean, obviously it's good that she finally told you, but at the same time, I just find it really weird that you 3 days you're like, well, I don't think I can do that, bye. That's just my perspective, but who knows, different people, different things. But as for having them not see you as the villain, I don't think it's really possible right now. And as they're teenagers, they're probably going to feel like they're right, whatever the situation is. Definitely do not share more information than necessary. I know that it's difficult because as they're clearly old enough to understand and having that kind of conversation, like, yeah, we're not going to be together in the same house anymore. That's really difficult, and I wouldn't know what to say either. But then again, be careful, because it's really easy, especially with them being teenagers, for them to suddenly get very, very up in your business about the details of your relationship. Unfortunately, I think it's kind of a waited out thing, and that's a whole mess. That's just a whole mess. My weight loss is ruining my relationship. Boyfriend is not attracted to plus size women, but is super insecure now and started taking it out on me. Wait, I have lost over 100 pounds over 2 years, dated for 5, and my boyfriend, while in my last post said he is over a 3XL, he is, but is a 5 or 6XL. Backstory. We were both new to dating, but not first timers. He and I had one prior relationship before dating. I told him to say what is on his mind, and it hasn't been a problem. We'd go shopping, and he'd, by my prompting for him to say it aloud, mentioned he can't wait for me to buy nice clothes from this store or that store instead of the same store over and over. We'd pass healthy size mannequins, and he'd mention that he never expects me to be thin, but he prefers something about that or a little larger. I told him that's realistic, and I plan to lose weight to be a size large 18, US women's, and that I was excited for that day too. Weight loss. So my weight was getting out of control. I started feeling the health issues and started dieting, which turned to intermittent fasting. Over 2 years, that's a little over 1 pound a week. It wasn't drastic, but for a while now, everyone's noticed I've slimmed down, mostly, in my opinion, because I finally bought or wear clothes that fit. Nothing hoochie, just clothes in my size. Boyfriends, insecurities, and weight. So, a few months ago, my boyfriend admitted that he couldn't be intimate with me because when he sees me, he sees the fact that he didn't lose weight with me. My progress makes him ashamed, and he asked me to be tougher on his diet. It's tough because he has the means to eat at work every day, so he eats whatever he wants, they have great food, and then comes home, he says he isn't hungry, only to find him eating at his desk the snacks he bought from Amazon and snuck in. So it's impossible. He has to make the choice, which he's done a decent job switching out candy for apples and soda for diet and water. I don't mind his weight, but he can't put his weight responsibility 100% on me. The bullying. In the last 2 weeks, my boyfriend has been saying really mean things. He complains about everything I do, everything I'm not doing enough of, etc. It was easy to avoid. I'd just head upstairs to play games or just nod to let him vent. But now he has gotten more cruel. He is constantly saying I stink, I'm not working out, I love showers and take too many, and even when I was fat, I didn't sweat or stink. I am insecure about my smell because of my family's stigma on my weight and tan skin. To them, it didn't matter how I smelled. Being fat equals stinky. Being tanner than them equals stinky. I smell myself, ask classmates, and I don't stink. I bend down to smell there, and although it's not good to use scented stuff there, it still smells scented from all the stuff I use on myself. He's been making it into a bigger deal. If I lay next to him at bedtime, typically I go to bed after he sleeps since I stay up, he'll snap at me and call me stinky and says it's so bad and beg me to shower, even though I did in the evening already. So I started only taking showers right before bed to shut him up. I love the teeny and few birthmarks I have. He has a lot of birthmarks, freckles, and moles, so I don't know what his problem is, but he grabs my arm and there's this little birthmark dot on my wrist and he goes, "Oh, sorry, thought you had crap on your hands." Like, there's no way you'd mistake this little dot on the side of my wrist for crap. I told him I'm tired of him looking down on me and making those comments. He agreed to couples counseling last night, so there's that, but I am very upset. He's 30. I told him we've been dating for 5 years, and I've never been attracted to jerks, and that's why I chose him. I've also heard him tell a mutual friend that if he was single right now, he'd be MGTOW, which, by the way, stands for Men Go Their Own Way. From a very basic Google search, it looks like men who won't be intimate with women, even though they're straight, a whole movement or philosophy or something, I don't know. I did ask him about that, and he seemed sincere when he said he wasn't planning on being single, just that he's been watching a lot of camping vids and would love to take 4 months just exploring. I told him if he needs to, he can, but he said he has work. Just now, maybe I have a theory that he wanted a girlfriend just to make him feel better about himself. Fat girlfriend, but not too fat. Asian, so he thinks I'm subservient, which I warned him I'm not demure, but he doesn't mind. I cook and do most chores. We game together, but not as much anymore. I'm just so confused. Also, I did not lose my breasts, so that's not why he's uninterested. Does he want to break up with me? Am I going to end up on Tinder at 25 and say on my profile a boyfriend of 5 years was secretly into big, beautiful women, asked me to lose weight, I lost 118 pounds, and he dumped me, I like kittens and Overwatch? I don't know if his intentions were the way that maybe you're feeling like they were in the beginning or anything like that, but it's really kind of frustrating how much... Like, I personally don't like it when men comment on, like, their girlfriends or wives or whatever, and tell them like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if you could fit into this kind of clothes? Like, to me, that's weird. Just, it makes me feel unpleasant. It's just a weird dynamic. I've seen it happen a lot. People don't seem so bothered by it, but I don't know, something about it feels really kind of off to me. That's just me. And then when she actually loses the weight, I think he just kind of started realizing that that ideal was just that, an ideal. And he started to feel like crap. When people who don't have like a lot of self-discipline and they get to really high weights and they're kind of trying to deflect off of that, they tend to be kind of mean. And obviously he's kind of playing on her concerns about being stinky or whatever. Like, I'm sure if they've been dating for 5 years, she's talked about that kind of insecurity. And so now he's pulling off these stupid ideas just to basically mess with her and make her feel insecure, probably to match the insecurities that he feels. And I wonder if he's also afraid that she feels like she can just leave him now because she weighs less and he doesn't. I don't know. I just I don't know if I would I don't know if I would stick around in a relationship just to avoid being on Tinder. If someone starts to treat you like trash, you don't have to stay just because you don't want to be single. My family went to my sister's wedding, didn't come to mine, are going to my brother's. My half-sister invited our shared extended family to her wedding. They all went. A few years later, I invited a number of the same people, but they declined. My grandparents didn't come because it was too far. It was a 40-minute drive, and they go further on weekends for a car boot sale. My cousins said they'd come, then they canceled the day or two before because they had already been to a few parties that month in the end or just didn't show up on the day. It was pretty embarrassing as I had only 4 family members. Now my full brother's wedding is coming up. All the family will be attending. I haven't spoken to the family members who didn't come to my wedding since. Not in a strop, we're not in hugely regular contact anyway. I realized them not being in my life didn't affect me, and so be it. I don't want anything to do with them. I can't be fake, smiley, listen to fake excuses, shrug it off, etc. when I see them. I also don't want to be a jerk at my brother's wedding and cause any drama. He's such a chill guy. My plan is to avoid as much as possible, but I have no idea what to say when I know I'll inevitably be approached. Any simple sentences I can bank and use would be appreciated. I wouldn't even bother with, engaging with the conversation if it's about the wedding, but I kind of doubt it will be, honestly. It sounds bad, but they probably don't even remember that they didn't attend your wedding. If they didn't care enough to come, maybe they'll remember just because they're at a wedding. So they might just ask, like, how's your spouse? How's the marriage going? Like, all that kind of stuff. If they do say sorry about your wedding, like not attending it or something, I mean, you can just tell them like, oh, it's okay, and just move on. I don't see a point in trying to like engage in an actual conversation about it. Hopefully you won't even have to talk about it at all. Anyway, I think that is going to wrap up today's video. If you all have any advice for these people in their relationships, you can drop it below in the comments. And also, if you would like to, you can go ahead and click the links that are in the description box and they'll go to the original story if you'd like to leave your comment there on Reddit. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and drop a like. And real quick, I'd like to thank my patrons. On the screen, you should see my face palmers and my crazy K's. Thank you so much for supporting me in that way. If you are interested in becoming a patron or you want to send me a story that could possibly be included in a future video, all of that kind of information will be in my description box. I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!